to Cougar Stadium for today's conference matchup between the visiting Spartans of Aurora University and the Cougars of Concordia University, Chicago. I am Parker Kelly coming to you live from the Cougar Sports Network. I am joined in the booth by Rafael Gonzalez. Before we go any further, let's give a quick rundown of the starting lineups for you that are listening at home. First for the Spartans. In goal for Aurora, number 46, Alexis Crowley. Number 2, Grace Pelletier. Number 3, Bailey Simpson. Number 4, Jessica Boyland. Number 7, Danielle Cobbett. Number 10, Taylor Jansen. Number 11, Haley Russell. Number 18, Jalen Yakovitz. Number 19, Caitlin Crone. Number 21, Lorelei Babbage. Number 23, Brianna Peck. Number 33, Monique Gibson. And for the Cougars, in goal, number 63, Ryan McGee. Number 1, Sarah Ludwig. Number 5, Chloe Shafsma. Number 7, Bryn Vito. Number 8, Jessica Parker. Number 10, Nina Nays. Number 11, Becky Colmenares. Number 12, Riley Ornstein. Number 18, Kelly Sala. Number 19, Kelly Piotrowski. 23, Lauren Sala. And number 25, Kate Johnson. We are underway in River Forest. Looks like the draw control is won by the Spartans. And Roth, the Cougars have a lot on their hands as this is a very hot Spartans team.
This is a Spartans team that has been dominant this year. They come in today with a record of 13-1, undefeated in conference so far. They just come out with a win against Concordia, Wisconsin this past week, 22-7. In which of those 22 goals, 9 came from different players, including ending the game on a 15-2 run. So by far and away, they are coming in with a lot of fun.
You got to think this is an Aurora team who's always been a thorn in the side for the Cougars. The Cougars are looking to pick up a little bit of momentum themselves, currently sitting at 3rd in the conference. Aurora sitting at 1st, and they've also clinched at least a share of the NAC title already. It's a good defensive stand right there for the Spartans. They're back on offense.
How important this game is for the Cougars, 3rd in the conference. A win today can all pretty much guarantee them in the conference tournament. A loss today, depending on what happens elsewhere, will go very Edgewood could enter into a situation where the Cougars might not make it to the conference tournament.
Spartans being patient at the top just to get the right shot off. And they'll shoot it right away, and it looks like the Spartans are going to strike first here in River Forest.
That's a goal for number 33, Monique Gibson, her first of the game. 56
and on the goal
of the
for
season.
the Spartans, number 33, Monique Gibson.
Assisted by number 4, Jessica Boyland.
That's
first
Gibson's
of the 23rd of the season.
56th goal of the season, currently ranked 2nd in the NAC. She's having herself quite the season for the Spartans team.
And not only that, just the team in general. You can look into today so far. Coming into the day of the year, they have 9 players on the team with at least 10 goals or more. And as you mentioned, there with Monique Gibson, from 56 goals on the year leading the team.
That was an assist by Jessica Boyland. So not even 2 minutes into the contest, the Aurora Spartans strike first on the road. As the draw control is won by Ornstein. Parker loses possession. That's picked up by the Spartans. Playing solid defense. She's been doing it all year long. Number 1, Sarah Ludwig. Cougars come out in that man defense that they've been playing pretty much all season long.
Defense is going to be in tip-top shape against this world team that comes in first in the conference, scoring nearly 18 goals per game, so it's going to be a long day potentially for these Cougars.
You got to think, too, Aurora is one of those teams that starts out very hot as they get another goal. Already 2 goals in the first 2.5 minutes of the quarter.
Bailey Simpson, her first of the game, 46th of the season, assisted by number 4, Jessica
Scoring
Boylan,
the goal, number
her
3,
second of the
Bailey
game,
Simpson,
24th of the season.
5th in the NAC in goals. In total goals, she's also second on the Spartans team. The Spartans have a plethora of scores, part of the reason why they're so good.
You saw right there on the goal by Simpson did a really nice job cutting across the middle. We talked about the Cougars' man-to-man defense, and the problem sometimes with this line is that once a player on the opposition like Aurora did with Simpson, able to sort of break away from the nearest defender, it allows one-on-one opportunities for the opposition to score, just like Simpson did that time.
Going back to my point about Aurora liking to start off hot, so far this season they've scored 85 goals in the first quarter, which is the most out of any quarter. They like to start out hot, like to try to put teams away early. And right now they're off to a pretty good start. 2 goals in the first 2.5 minutes of the game, and as I say that, that's goal number 3.
That's a goal for number 23, Brianna Beck.
Now
That's her
Brianna
first of the game,
Beck getting
17th
in
of
on the
season.
scoring. That's her first goal of the day. Her
Assisted by number 4,
17th of the
Jessica
season.
Boylan. That's her third of the game, 25th of the season.
Beck just came on with a 4-goal performance last time out in Concordia, Wisconsin, so she continues her little hot streak as of late.
Out from the Cougars, coach Fran Scott, her second season with the Cougars. It's definitely not the start that she expected to see today from her defense, and not the start she was hoping for at all.
No, she said to me earlier today when I saw her is that they needed a complete 100% team effort on both sides, which is something that they have done a few times this year but have come far and wide. And so far, I mean, you mentioned it, we're only like 3 minutes into the game, and so far things are starting to get out of hand quickly.
This is, like I've mentioned already, this is an Aurora team who is typically a very good squad and come in first in the NAC, clinched at least a share of the title already. A win today would pretty much seal the deal. Meanwhile, on the other hand, this is a Cougars team who is struggling, 4-8 overall, 3-2 in the conference. They need a little bit of a spark. Right now they're sitting at 3rd in the conference, looking to make yet another conference tournament appearance.
Their last game was this past week against On the Road at Edgewood. They were up ahead by halftime. However, a 6-goal in third quarter was the biggest reasoning towards their loss to Edgewood in their last game.
A quick turnaround, as you mentioned, that Edgewood game on Saturday. Now they're playing Aurora here on a Tuesday afternoon. Trying to bounce back, not off to the best start, as Spartans lead the Cougars 3-0 here in the first quarter. So far, a big indicator of why the Spartans are up. They've dominated time of possession.
And not only that, the biggest difference in this game between both teams is the strength in numbers. You look at Aurora's squad, they have so much depth. You know, they have over 20 plus players on the team. They can field a second team if they want to right now, whereas the Cougars, they don't really have that luxury of substitution and having a good depth squad.
And that is the 4th goal of the afternoon for this Spartan squad. It was number 33, Monique Gibson, her 2nd goal of the day, 57th of the season.
57th of the season.
Couldn't ask for a better start if you are Gibson. 2 goals already here in the first quarter. We haven't even reached 5 minutes into the contest.
And not only that, the efficiency of this Spartan offense so far. They've had 4 shots in this game, and all 4 of them have converted for a goal. So there's efficiency in the highest order.
Got to think that 3rd goal of the contest for the Spartans came at that 12-10 mark. At the 11:24 mark, Monique Gibson scored her second goal, so it didn't even take the Spartans a full minute to get another goal, and they are just off to a quick start. As the draw control is won by the Spartans, they're making their way down the field.
A free possession right here for Aurora, looking to extend their lead now to 5 just in a matter of seconds.
Cougars are going to need Ryan McGee to really step up heavily in goal. She's very capable of that. Won Conference Player of the Week a couple of weeks ago. She's having a nice season. That's a good indication of what her career has been like here. Concordia, right now, McGee second in the NAC in saves per game, third in the NAC in save percentage. Having herself a pretty nice season. As Ludwig makes her way down that right sideline, flips it to Johnson, who then passes it off to Nez. Cougars just looking for any hole to attack in that Spartans defense, as Piotrowski running around trying to make something happen. Tries to dump it off to Johnson, who loses it, picked up by the Spartans.
Yeah, we give a lot of credit to the Spartans, what they do offensively, but defensive, it also has been a really good year for them, only allowing less than 6 goals a year. And, for the Cougars, this is going to be a game in which they're going to have very few opportunities to have good quality shots. So whenever they get those opportunities, it is an absolute must for them to execute those.
And for those who aren't as familiar with the world of lacrosse, allowing 6 goals a game is very stout defense. And you don't clinch a share of the NAC title, come in today 13-1 without playing some solid defense. Now Beto working behind that Spartan goal. Overthrows Parker, but picked up by Ornstein. Ornstein loses it. And now Shaftsma working at the top. She's bumped by an Aurora defender and falls down. It looks like it'll be a free possession attempt for Shaftsma. Whistle blown. Redo the free possession as ball back in the stick of Shaftsma. Never mind, it will not be a free possession attempt. Just be more work at offense for the Cougars as Ornstein, clouded by a plethora of Spartans. Nice save right there from Crowley. That ball going to be picked up by Sela. Lauren Sela to be exact, as her sister Kelly Sela both in the starting lineup today for the Cougars. Pretty easy to get them confused. Now Piotrowski picked up by Ornstein. Ornstein slicing and dicing, fires a shot that is blocked. Parker brings it back out, flips it to Shaftsma at the top. Cougars really prolonging this offensive possession, trying to, again, find any way to attack that Spartan defense. Shaftsma going to dump it off to Johnson, who loses it. Picked up by Parker. Parker fires a little low and away from the goal. That shot clock will reset to 60. Now Johnson working with it in the middle. Ornstein looking for an outlet. And that pass is intercepted by Aurora. They'll go back to work on offense.
Despite the possession going nowhere in the end for the Cougars, it was by far and away their best offensive possession. And not only that, taking time offensively and sort of give themselves a breather as well because of how quickly Aurora moves on offense the other way.
And that's been a point of emphasis for this Cougars team. As we've seen already, Aurora off to a hot start offensively. The Cougars, again, you mentioned this, Roth, don't have a lot of depth on that sideline. So offense is really the time where this Cougars team needs to rest because they're expending a lot of energy on the defensive end. But that was a good offensive possession for this team. And now Simpson at the top for the Spartans. Spin move. She's guarded by Beto. And now Shafsma. Really nice defensive effort from her. She'll pick it up and make her way down the field. Another spin move from her. Dumps it off to Piotrowski. Slices and dices. Shows off the speed. Taking it coast to coast. Goes behind the Spartan goal. And another save right there from Crowley. She's not allowed much past her, if at all, so far in this game. And now Simpson with the ball again. Yakovitz. Aurora being very patient. We got a fire, but that one, I believe it was tipped by either Sela or McGee.
So far, the Cougars have done a much better job here in these past couple minutes, sort of like taking this game back and not allowing Aurora their opportunities as they did earlier in the game, which, because of that reason, has let them down early, but things are starting to look upwards, it seems.
Aurora's offense has slowed down just a little bit. They got off to a hot start, 4 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game. Haven't done much on the offensive end since. It's credit to this Cougars defense who's really stepped it up since about that 11-minute mark.
The one big concern still for the Cougars is the fact that Aurora have just controlled this game in their defensive zones, continuously putting them on the back burner.
And now Yakovitz going to find Simpson on that right side. She'll fire, and that's a goal for Aurora. Bailey Simpson, her second goal of the afternoon, her 47th of the season.
Assisted by number 7, Danielle Cobbett.
And that was an assist for Danielle Cobbett. It's Cobbett's first assist on the afternoon, her 25th assist of the season. So the Spartans lead the Cougars 5-0, 3:35 left in the first quarter. And the Cougars are going to take possession of it as Parker picks it up. And now Beto working with it behind the goal. Dumps it off to Nays. Finds Piotrowski. Cougars passing the ball around the yard. The ball is dropped by Johnson, but she scoops it back up. Nice save by her. Looks like we will get a foul, and the Spartans will take possession. Now Yakovitz streaking down the middle of the field. Finds Simpson, who has been dangerous so far this afternoon. We mentioned 2 goals already. She is second on the Spartans team in goals this season with 47. Looks like it'll be a free possession attempt for the Spartans.
It's going to be for number 8, Margaret Flanagan.
She fires a lofty ball. It goes over the goal and out of bounds. The Spartans will retain possession as Simpson pulling out a few juke moves, but that ball is scooped up by Ornstein as she tries to maneuver past traffic. She finds Johnson.
This Cougars team wants to slowly make a comeback in this game. They have to think a goal here in the last minute and a half will help them get momentum to start off the second.
Goal right here would be huge. Cougars looking to get on the board for the first time today. This clock is ticking here in the first quarter. A minute and some change left. Johnson looking for an outlet. Pressure is applied by that Spartans defense. Johnson going to fire, and that's a goal for Kate Johnson. Right as we were talking about it, Roth, Cougars stop the bleeding. They get on the board. First goal of the afternoon for the Cougars at the hands of Kate Johnson.
The junior right there coming in the clutch. It's going to be her 5th goal on the year. Her last goal came against Illinois Tech in that 20-9 win, in which she scored 2 goals in that game, along with her now 5 goals. Also has 3 assists to her name this season.
And now that's 5 goals on the year for Johnson. She's excited after that one. The Cougars really needed a goal right there. Now 50 seconds remaining here in the quarter.
Now the key thing for them is to continue to have momentum on their side and not get caught slacking here in the last 50 seconds and allow the Spartans a chance to get a goal back.
Spartans will win that draw control. Pass a little high for Yakovitz, but picked up by Hannah Martindale. Now Simpson fires. That shot was low and away from the goal. And now McGee, find Ludwig on the bottom side of your screen. She'll head to the middle of the field. And that'll do it for the first quarter. The Spartans lead the Cougars 5-1. We'll be back for more action here on the Cougar Sports Network. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content, interviews, and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for $5 a month to receive exclusive access to content and the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. Go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, click the join button to become a member, and if you don't want to become a member at the time, you can donate to the CUC Athletic Communications Department to continue to improve the broadcast you're watching by clicking the thank button on any video. We sincerely thank you for all your support. Well, the Spartans lead the Cougars 5-1, and Aurora got off to that hot start, scoring 4 goals in the first 4.5 minutes of the game. Since only 1 goal, the Cougars' defense has really stepped up since.
They've done a really good job defensively limiting the shots that have been attempted by Aurora. You know, we talked early on how, like, in their first 4 goals was on 4 shots. Since then, they've had 5 shots. Only 1 of them have gone in the back of the nets. And then offensively for the Cougars, things are starting to look upwards towards them. They've had several possessions of several good opportunities. They've capitalized on 1, but in the second quarter, it's going to be critical for them to continue the pressure and continue get a little bit on a scoring run here to start the quarter.
As possession with the Spartans in Cougar territory, looking for any gaping holes in that Cougar defense to attack. Ball in the hands of Martindale. Ball stripped by Ornstein, but picked right back up by the Spartans. And now Corbett working with it behind the Cougar goal. This is a very patient Aurora team. They know when to strike fast. They know when to be patient. Part of the reason why they're so good on offense. As Gibson fires a high pass. Shot clock winding down. Fires a shot. It's off the mark. 10 seconds left. Looks like it'll be a free possession attempt for the Spartans. You got to get a shot off quick. Now the Cougars with a nice stop on the defensive end. McGee finds Ludwig. Roth, that was a excellent defensive possession for the Cougars and exactly what they needed.
It's exactly what they needed at the moment, and now the question is, offensively, can they continue to establish what they did at the end of the first quarter, which was gain control in the offensive zone and finding those good shots that'll be on target so far. They've had 4 shots. Those 3 of them have been on target so far. So if they continue to do that, they can slowly chip away the lead here in the quarter.
And that, if you're looking at the box score, that's something that really stands out. The amount of shots the Spartans have taken, 11. Cougars have only attempted 4 shots. Definitely have to get that number up a little bit. Defense is starting to come along now. It's just the offense that needs to follow. As Ludwig will start with the ball for the Cougars. Passes it to Ornstein, who's behind her. Now Ornstein slicing through that defense. She'll find Piotrowski. Now Beto fires it in traffic, and that's picked up by the Spartans. It's Caitlin Crone. Finds Boyland. This is an Aurora team who on the season has scored 62 of their total 249 goals. 62 of those have come in the second quarter. They also fire a lot of shots in the second quarter. With out of the 461 shots they have shot 118 times in second quarters this year. Martindale dances around with it at the top. Aurora now really prolonging these offensive possessions here in the second quarter. They'll fire a nice save right there from McGee as she goes up top for the block. And the clock will reset to 60 as Aurora retains possession on offense.
You talked about Aurora, Parker, and how well they've taken their time, but also give credit as well to the Cougars defensively, making them use all the 90 seconds several times and finding a good quality shot, whereas at the beginning of the game, Aurora was able to find quick, easy shots early on the shot clock.
And that's definitely a good thing for the Cougars, and that's another goal from the Spartans. I believe that was number 33, Monique Gibson. Her third goal now has the hat trick here on the afternoon.
That's a goal for number 33, Monique Gibson, her third of the game, 58th of the season.
So that's now 58 goals for Gibson. I mentioned this earlier in the broadcast, but she came into today ranked second in the NAC in total goals this season. The only person ahead of her is Emma Ropp from Eureka College. She has 62 goals on the season.
Just when I mentioned how well the Cougars were doing defensively, unfortunately that time the goal slipped past them, and now the deficit is back up to 5, which is not what they wanted here early goings here in the second still.
Now the Spartans back on offense. They lead the Cougars 6-1. 10 minutes to go here in the second quarter. And now Simpson loses track of it, picks it right back up. Cougars playing tight defense, trying not to give up any more goals. As that shot fired and to the right of the goal. Aurora still on offense, less than 20 seconds on the shot clock. And possession will go to the Cougars as Ludwig was knocked down by one of the Spartans. She'll start out with it for the Cougars. Now Parker streaking down the sideline, guarded by Simpson. Spartans playing some suffocating defense so far.
What's interesting so far in this game, we haven't heard much offensively from their two best goal scorers on the team, and Kelly Petrowski and Riley Ornstein so far in this game.
They've been awfully quiet. The only Cougar to score today was Kate Johnson, who got her 5th goal of the season. But it has been a pretty quiet afternoon so far for the 2 leading goal scorers for the CUC squad in Piotrowski and Ornstein. They'll be looking to get them going here on this offensive possession as Piotrowski working with it behind the goal. She'll fire. That shot off the mark.
Those are those key critical opportunities right there. The Cougars cannot waste right there, especially those opportunities right near in front of the net. And unfortunately for Piotrowski right there, her shot went wide to the left.
That was Piotrowski's first shot attempted, her second shot attempted this afternoon. Spartans working on offense now. Being really patient at the top as Simpson roaming around with it. Tries to find a cutting Spartan, but lost in traffic. Picked up by the Cougars and Sarah Ludwig. And Roth with the win today, the Cougars would clinch the conference outright. They moved to 14-1 overall, 6-0 in the conference.
Not only that, Parker, but here's a stat for you. Since Aurora joined the conference, dating back to 2020, they have not yet lost a single conference game up to this point. They are 17-0, and if they win here today, it will be 18-0 in the conference record since joining.
Speaks to the level of dominance that Aurora has displayed being a member of the NAC. And a loss today for the Cougars would be detrimental to their tournament hopes. Piotrowski working with it behind the goal. Spin move, fires, and that's a goal for Kelly Piotrowski.
Well, we talked about it earlier how Piotrowski hadn't made much of an impact in this game right there, but a beautiful spin move right there to cut right across the middle of the nets. And she nets herself her 35th goal on the year. She came in 8th today in conference scoring on that, and she's pulled the deficit back down once more for the Cougars. And, you know, with still a little bit left to go here before halftime, they are still very much in this game.
And that's goal number 35 for Kelly Piotrowski on the season, her first goal this afternoon. Rob, we were just talking about how she needed to get going a little bit. That's a huge step in the right direction for her. And the Cougars are now within 4 with 5:16 left in the second quarter.
There's still plenty of time for them to get another goal, maybe even 2 right here, and make things interesting as we would head to the halftime break.
That draw control won by the Spartans and Monique Gibson. Spartans will get a shot off quickly. It's no good. And that'll be a stop for the Cougars, a much needed stop, I should say. And they're back on offense.
Really good job there by McGee, stopping both shots right there. And we further see just how she has been heart and soul behind the net of CUC for the past 4 years.
Now Ornstein going to find Nays, being closely guarded by Kinley Axvig. Fires an arid pass that goes out of bounds. And the Spartans get the ball right back. This is a Spartans team that's full of speed. They've displayed so far this afternoon.
And that speed comes from just how much depth they have in this entire team, bringing in new players every few minutes, bringing fresh legs on the field. It's been a contributing factor for them this entire year.
And if you're taking a look at the two sides and their benches, it's almost incomparable. The Cougars don't have very many bodies, available bodies on this team, and Aurora has quite a bit of depth. Got to give credit to the Cougars, though. They're a resilient team that show up to compete no matter what the circumstances. As looked like Yakovitz knocked down by a couple of Cougars. Gibson working with it at the top. Finds Simpson. Shot attempt by Aurora, no good. Middle is very congested right now. Both sides fighting for possession. 2 seconds left. And it looks like shot clock will start over at 60. Aurora retains possession. When the Cougars thought they got the stop, Aurora picked the ball right back up. And that's a shot and a goal for Aurora. They increase their lead to 5. They lead the Cougars 7-2. 2:13 remaining in the half.
Her first of the game, 16th of the season. Assisted by number 33, Monique Gibson, her first of the game, 20th of the season.
And on the goal, number 4, Jessica Boyland. Her 16th goal of the season, her first of the game. The assist was from her teammate Monique Gibson, her 20th assist on the season.
Boylan was the one that got the possession back going after it appeared for a moment that the shot clock ran out. That was before the save there by McGee, and Boylan was the first one to pick it up to reset the possession, and she ends it with a goal.
So Aurora leads Concordia 7-2. A little over 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Draw control won by Gibson and the Spartans. They'll march right down the field, looking to score once again.
Spartans have a chance here to suck the life out of the Cougars here to get another goal right here before halftime.
And as you say that, Roth, Aurora scores once again their 8th goal of the afternoon, increased their lead to 6. They're trying to put the Cougars away early as they increase their lead to 6 goals. That was another goal from Monique Gibson, now her 4th goal of the afternoon and her 59th goal of the season.
Just an overall incredible first half performance for her, and with a minute 37 left, Cougars here, dire times.
Things were looking up for the Cougars at the start of the second. Then Aurora, 2 quick goals, and they're back up by 6. Aurora wins the draw control. Feels like, Roth, it feels like it's been a while since we've seen the Cougars on offense.
It seems like ever since Piotrowski scored the second goal of the day for the Cougars, they have pretty much hit a wall, as a unit, particularly offensively, as Parker currently tries to get them going offensively, but outside of Piotrowski's second goal, there hasn't been much offensively.
Now, for the first time in a while, Cougars are on offense as Shaftsma finds Johnson. His time is ticking here in the half. Piotrowski working with it behind the goal. She'll find Beto. Beto loses it, picked up by the Spartans, and that was goalie Alexis Crowley. And that pass is intercepted by Ornstein. Ornstein fires and a goal. Riley Ornstein making her presence felt. Her first goal of the afternoon, 23rd of the season. And it comes at a much-needed time as the Cougars trail the Spartans 8-3 now.
The senior out of Walnut Creek, California now makes it 9 consecutive games for her with a goal. And before the edge of halftime, Cougars get a goal back, much needed.
And now 11 seconds and some change remains here in the first half. Cougars trail the Spartans 8-3. As we are set for the draw control. That's won by the Cougars and Piotrowski. Time is ticking. Piotrowski she's just going to run the clock out, and we'll head to halftime. The Spartans from Aurora lead the Cougars 8-3. We'll be back for more second half action on the Cougar Sports Network. And we're back in River Forest as the second half underway. Parker Kelly, Rafa Gonzalez. Raf, it was a very strong defensive effort for the Cougars in that second quarter. Not so much in the first quarter, as they allowed 5 goals from the Spartans. Only allowed 3 goals in that second quarter. That defense is going to continue to stay consistent, but what do we need to see from the offense if the Cougars want to have a shot today versus the Spartans?
Offensively, they're going to need to have a lot more opportunities on net. So far in the opening half, they only had 8 shots. Out of those 8, 5 of them have been on target, and 3 of those have converted in goals. But they need to really establish more control possession-wise as a team. And above all else, they also have to limit Aurora's quality opportunities. And the big concern I have, as the game progresses further along, is that with the lack of depth and substitution that the Cougars have, the more fatigue is going to sort of set later on in this third quarter, and particularly in the fourth quarter, while for Aurora, they're just able to bring players left, right, and center from the bench.
And I've brought this up already, but if you're looking at the scorecard, the Spartans have 22 shots so far this afternoon. 13 of those have been on goal. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars, 8 shots, 5 on goal. They have to amp that number up a lot. Need to get into that, 5 to 10 shots here in this quarter would be really nice. But the Cougars have to amp it up on offense. This is an Aurora team who loves to score, but they're also very stout on defense. Cougars are going to have to amp it up on offense as we are almost underway here in the third quarter, start of the second half. Jessica Parker will gear up for the draw control for the Cougars. And for the Spartans, it'll be Monique Gibson.
Mentioned, Parker, how Aurora at any moment could ramp up offensively. I mean, remember, all the way back in the first quarter, they scored 4 goals immediately in the opening 5 minutes of this game. So at any moment, the Spartans could blow this game out of the water.
They do love to start out hot, as the draw control is won by the Spartans and Gibson. Gibson has won 5 draw controls this afternoon. As that ball trickles to the net, picked up by McGee in goal. It's a nice defensive start for the Cougars here in the third quarter, as Ludwig, she'll dump it off to Ornstein, who gets past 2 Spartan defenders, takes it coast to coast, fires a high pass intended for Beto, picked up by the Spartans. Caitlin Crone. After the turnover, the Spartans are back on offense. Now Brianna Peck. We saw that, you mentioned, Roth, that Aurora got off to that hot start in the first quarter, 4 goals in the first 4.5 minutes. But really since that, they have been patient on the offensive end, as that's a goal from Aurora. 9 goals on the afternoon. They lead the Cougars 9-3 here in the third quarter.
I think this is the 3rd time, unfortunately, today we've sort of jinxed them in the worst moment. So the broadcaster jinx, unfortunately, has come here today. But we talked about how you mentioned how the Cougars done a lot more better job overall in this game. And unfortunately, if it wasn't for that 5-goal opening frame, they would still be in this game. But they need to get not only 1 goal, they need to get 2 or 3 goals consecutively to make Aurora feel like they still have to, go for it and, feel the pressure. Otherwise, at some point, this game's going to get out of half for the Cougars, to which there's not enough time in the game.
And that was a goal for number 18, Jalen Yakovitz. her first goal of the game, her 40th of the season. She's third on this Spartans team in total goals scored this season, as the draw control won by the Spartans. Passing the ball around the yard a little bit, being very patient.
And it's not only that, it's just the trust that they all have together as a collective unit. I mean, we mentioned it, like this year they have 15 players this year who have scored at least 1 goal. So it just shows the trust that everyone has on the team and knowing that they're all capable of scoring.
And not even that, just the amount of offense that the Spartans are able to generate. 9 players with at least double-digit goals on the season. The Spartans have 3 players in the top 10 in the conference of total goals scored this season. They're a team that knows when to be patient, knows when to amp it up. Sometimes they can strike in the blink of an eye. Now the Spartans will get to work on defense as the Cougars back at work on offense. And Bryn Beto standing behind that Spartan goal looking for someone to pass the ball to. She finds her teammate Ornstein. That pass a little out of the reach of Piotrowski. And Aurora will come up with the ball. Now working with it behind the goal, it's Boyland. And now Simpson. And that's a goal from Jalen Yakovitz. 2 goals already for her here in this third quarter. Now the Spartans are now in double-digit goals as they lead the Cougars 10-3 with 11:01 remaining in the third quarter.
I talked right before the third quarter began of how the Cougars, our lack of depth, was going to catch up to them eventually, and unfortunately it has already shown affected here early on in the third. This is a Cougars team that hasn't scored much in the third this year. They've only scored 19 goals while conceding 35, and so far things are not looking good here early on the third for the Cougars. However, there is still plenty of time left.
And this quarter showing some signs of resemblance to that first quarter for the Spartans. 2 goals scored already in the first 4 minutes of the quarter. They like to strike fast. We knew that coming into the day. Draw control won by the Cougars and Ornstein. Ornstein tripped up at that close to the 30-yard line. And now Shafsma finds Nez. Cougars trying to get everybody a touch here early in the quarter. Beto working with it behind goal, dumps it off to Piotrowski. And that ball picked up by the Spartans. The Spartans have done a great job all afternoon of really muddying the middle of the field, not allowing the Cougars to attack middle. And so far, it's paid dividends for the Spartans.
So this was a Cougars team that in their past 2 games had averaged 15 goals a game, but today so far they have not had that same luck, only 3 goals. And it's been a challenge for them facing off against the best defensive teams in the conference. I mean, you mentioned how they've conceded less than 6 goals this year. Aurora have conceded less than 6 goals per game, and how it's been a very impressive feat for a team to have.
Now under 10 minutes in the third quarter, as Gibson working with it at the top. Looks like we'll get a free possession attempt for Danielle Cobbett. She'll dump it off to Simpson, who gets her third goal of the afternoon, a hat trick for Bailey Simpson. Her third goal of the afternoon, her 48th of the season. And the Spartans continuing to pour it on the Cougars. They now lead 11-3.
And fair play right there to Cobbett right there. Being unselfish right there, and Batter going for the attempt to get herself on the score sheet today. Instead, she gives it off right there for the finish.
And on the assist, number 7, Danielle Cobbett, her second assist of the afternoon, 26th assist of the season. Spartans going to work here in the third quarter. 3 goals scored. And it's taken them just a little over 5 minutes to do that. They scored 3 goals the entirety of the second quarter. They've already matched that effort. Draw control is picked up by the Spartans and Yakovitz. Spartans really dominating the time of possession here in the quarter. Now shot, saved by McGee. As a Spartan player knocked over by a group of Cougars. I believe that was number 11, Kaylee Russell. That pass, a little out of the reach of Gibson. Spartans will get the ball back. Time ticking on the shot clock. Now shot clock at 30 seconds. Gibson working with it at the top. She's guarded by Piotrowski. Fighting for the ball. It's picked up by Gibson. 10 seconds on the shot clock. And another goal from the Spartans. I don't even think McGee saw it as it snuck right inside that top of the net.
That's a goal for number 6, Sydney Mann, her first of the game.
And that's a goal for Sydney Mann. She gets her first goal of the game. Only her second goal of the season.
The sophomore out of Siesta-Key, Florida, gives herself her second of the year, as you mentioned, Parker, and the lead has now gone up to 9 here in a game in which not that long ago felt like the Cougars still had a chance to rally back, but things are slowly getting out of hand here.
Got to think it was 8-3 heading into halftime. Since that point, the Spartans have responded with 4 goals here in the third quarter. Meanwhile, Cougars have yet to answer the bell. Now the Spartans lead 12-3, and the Spartans just continue to dominate the Cougars in the shot category. 27 shots for the Spartans, 18 on goal, and the Cougars only 8 shots, 5 on goal. Number has not gone up any since the halftime mark. Spartans win the draw control once again. Now Simpson loses it. Ball is picked up by Shaftsma. She's met by a couple Spartan defenders. Now Ludwig loses the ball. And that's picked up by Aurora. Now the ball's in the hands of Monique Gibson, who has plenty of green space to work with. Lets her teammates get into position as they look to attack this Cougar defense. That pass a little off the mark, intended for Gibson. Ornstein going to pick it up. She streaks down the middle of the field. She'll find a trailing Parker. Now Shaftsman dumps it off to Johnson. Mito trying to find an open teammate. Analyzes the situation. Mito going to take it herself. Finds Ornstein. Now Ornstein loses the ball. I believe that was Yakovitz.
Good defensive work there by Yakovitz right there, and it just shows you a demonstration of just how tightly well Aurora's played defensively here today, but Ornstein has an opportunity here to get herself on the score sheet again here.
Now Ornstein with the free possession attempt. She'll fire, and that ball trickles in there for the 4th goal of the afternoon for CUC. They cut that Aurora lead now to 8. Now Riley Ornstein, her 2nd goal of the afternoon, 24th on the season.
More importantly, above that, it is the first shot that the Cougars have had here in this 3rd quarter, and their 9th shot has converted into a goal.
Excellent point. That was the Cougars' first shot attempt of the 3rd quarter, and they converted on it. However, they still trail the Spartans by 8 goals. Going to have to do more of that offensive work. Do it quickly. As 5:38 remains in the quarter. And a little delay in the action as Parker set for the draw control. Now action will resume here in River Forest. And facing off against Parker was Yakovitz, who wins the draw control. The sun is peeking its way through the clouds here in River Forest. Nice lacrosse weather here, Cougar Stadium. Nice deflection right there from Parker, but it's picked right back up by the Spartans. Kaylee Russell. And now Yakovitz. Quick shot attempt from the Spartans. No good, and looks like we have a Spartan down on the field. She was knocked down hard by a couple Cougar defenders. She gets back up slowly, and now she'll jog off the field. Danielle Cobbett was the injured player for the Spartans.
So she'll come out, and looks like number 4, Jessica Boylan's coming in for her.
So the Spartans will stay on offense. 4:25 remaining in the quarter. Shot clock will reset to 90. Now, excuse me, the Cougars will be on offense, and Colmenares will start out with the ball. She'll dump it off to McGee, who tries to find Sayla. Sayla loses it. That ball goes out of bounds. Now Ludwig, she's stripped by a Spartan defender. That was Kaylee Russell. Excuse me. No, Margaret Flanagan.
So far, both teams in the turnover category have been pretty much even in this game, yet it's felt like throughout the entirety of this game that turnovers have been far more costly for the Cougars. The shot went one right there from the Spartans.
Cougars about neck and neck with the Spartans in the turnover category. Spartans with 15 turnovers, Cougars with 16. So pretty identical numbers in that respective category. Those turnovers have been more costly for the Cougars. Haven't been able to get much going on the offensive end. Another pause in the action. .255 remaining in the third quarter as the Spartans lead the Cougars 12-4. Looks like the Spartans will be on offense, and Yakovitz will start out with it. Shot clock ticking is under 25 seconds. Now Yakovitz finds Boylan. Boylan gonna shoot that one. That's deflected off the stick of McGee. Cougars will be back at work on offense. Now Ornstein dumps it off to Parker. Cougars looking for the right look. Ball's lost by Johnson. Picked up by Boyland. Now the Spartans marching right down the field.
It looks like number 14, Hannah Martindale, is going to have an opportunity to get herself on the score sheet right here in a free possession.
Free possession attempt for the Spartans. Exactly 1 minute remaining in the third quarter. That shot no good. Nice save right there from McGee.
That will be McGee's 8th save of the day, as she continues to keep the score at a respectable gap so far.
Now Yakovitz at the top. Working with it. Finds a cutting teammate. That ball is stripped by a Cougar defender. McGee comes out of the goal, passes it to Colmenares. And time will run out, and that'll do it for the third quarter. The Spartans lead the Cougars 12-4. We'll be back for fourth quarter action on the Cougar Sports Network. Fans, head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics. Click on the sports tab and insert women's lacrosse to find rosters, schedules, stats, and more. Again, the website is CUCougars.com for everything CUC women's lacrosse. We're back here in River Forest for the start of the fourth quarter. The Spartans lead the Cougars 12-4. A quick recap of that third quarter. Spartans scored 4 goals in that quarter. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the Cougars only scored 1. That was off the stick, of Riley Orenstein. We're underway here in the fourth quarter. The draw control won by the Cougars and Orenstein. And she'll fire, and a great start for the Cougars here in the fourth quarter as Orenstein scores her third goal of the afternoon, not even 30 seconds into the quarter.
Quarter for her, taking it all the way, and like that, best possible start that the Cougars could have asked for here.
Cougars are not going down without a fight. Again, that's Orenstein's third goal of the game, a hat trick for her, 25 goals scored on the season. And that came at the 14:46 marks. Not even 15 seconds into the quarter, Orenstein gets a goal to cut that deficit to 7. Draw control won by Gibson. She's fumbling around with it. Giving her a little bit of trouble was Piotrowski. But the Spartans will be on offense.
Down by 7. There is still a lot of the other tunnel for the Cougars here, but with time against them right now, they need to get possession quickly and score immediately right down the other end numerous times here in the quarter.
The game is not out of reach, but you're right, time is definitely not on the Cougars' side.
But now that further doesn't help the fact that each team gets 90 seconds of possession, so not only do they have to immediately go down the other way and find not only some good shots, but a couple of goals, but also they need to not allow the Spartans to take over the full 90 seconds.
The Spartans still on offense. As Gibson at the top of the arc. Again, the middle has been cloudy for either side today. Now Shaftsma, ball ripped out of the stick by Gibson, but offense will, or the Cougars will remain on offense. Now Orenstein. Showing off the speed, taking it coast to coast. Tries to find Johnson, but Johnson loses it. Now Piotrowski finds Beto in the back of the end zone. Piotrowski. Spin move. Leaves her defender on the ground. Little shake and bake right there from Piotrowski, but the Spartans will get the stop. And now Gibson. Looks like she stepped out of bounds. Now the Cougars are back on offense as Ludwig, being guarded by Simpson, finds Orenstein.
position right here for the Cougars is critical right here. They're going to go right here and cut the deficit once more back down to 6. They still have an outside chance of making this game a lot more interesting for Aurora.
Now Ornstein. Ornstein letting her emotions show a little bit. Just not happy on how the Cougars have played so far today.
And I think not only that, though, look at just as a whole, this is a team that, for the past 2 years had gone to the conference tournament final, had lost both times to Aurora, and, had such high hopes this year, and beating them, And, you look at the score so far today, and the same story as the past 2 years continues to happen here today.
Now the Spartans back on offense. A little over 10 minutes remaining in the game. Gibson finds Yakovitz, fires a high shot right over the goal. Simpson another shot. And looks like it trickles into the net. McGee trying to save it, not able to get to it in time. It'll be the 13th goal of the afternoon for Aurora.
As a former soccer goalkeeper, I know the feeling that Mickey is feeling right now deep down, and it is not a pretty sight to see, and I know that firsthand.
Tell McGee not happy about that. Good thing is a couple of her Cougar teammates came over to give her a word of encouragement. Great sign of good sportsmanship among this Cougar squad.
They're going to give the goal to Margaret Flanagan. It's going to be her 20th on the year, the senior out of Forest Park, Illinois.
Her first of the game, 20th of the season. Spartans back up by 8. Little under 10 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. McGee still hasn't shaken off that last goal as she's kind of squatting over there in goal for the Cougars. Not happy about that goal at all. Nice save right there from Megan Genty, who has entered the game for Aurora. She's relieved Alexis Crowley. Genty so far, one save here on the afternoon, has allowed 2 goals. Excuse me, she's allowed 3 goals. Another nice defensive stand right there from the Spartans as Genty pass it out to Yakovitz. Yakovitz will find Martindale. And that'll be another goal for the Spartans. Go up by 9 now, 14-5. 8:32 remaining in the fourth quarter.
8.5 minutes is all that separates Aurora now from going 18-0 Overall, in conference looks like they started to join the conference back in 2020 before they get set to play in the conference tournament.
So Cougars tried to ignite a little bit of a comeback. Aurora not letting that happen. That's their Spartans' second goal here in the fourth quarter. They're back up by 9. They lead the Cougars 14-5. 8:32 remaining in the quarter.
Biggest stat differential from both teams, the shots category. Aurora having nearly over 3 times the amount of shots that the Cougars have had. They've had 36 compared to the Cougars' 13. And so far, that has been the biggest difference stats-wise.
Spartans back at work on offense. Cougars really muddying that middle, not allowing the Spartans to get a shot off.
Nice play defensively there by Ludwig as she now sprints ahead up forward.
Now finds Nez. Finds Piotrowski. Piotrowski not able to handle it. Nice defensive stand from the Spartans. Looked like the Cougars had some steam. Piotrowski knocks over Spartan. I believe that was Gibson. So Spartans get the ball right back. Now Spartans being patient. They're trying to run as much of this clock as they possibly can. Up by 9. 5:36 remaining in the game. .35 seconds left on the shot clock. Cougars with the defensive stand. Gee will head to the back of the net, finds Sela. Now Ornstein knifes through 2 Spartan defenders. She'll take it coast to coast. Shot, no good. Spartans again just trying to drain as much clock as possible. Get their 14th win of the season. Officially clinch the conference title. shot. Saved by McGee. McGee will find Beto. That ball up in the air and controlled by Parker. Parker dumps it off to Ornstein. Now Shaftsma. Shaftsma with the shot, no good.
Nice defensive play right there by the Cougars, still with possession in the offensive zone.
And it looks like it'll be a free possession attempt for Ornstein. Ornstein fires, no good. Nice save right there from Genty. Now Parker finds Johnson. Now Nays. Beto, that shot low and outside. Trickles out of bounds. But possession will stay with the Cougars. Now Johnson finds Shaftsma. And now Ludwig, notice. Simpson. Under 2 minutes to go in the game. 1:36 to be exact. Simpson spin move. Shot. And another goal. Spartans increase their lead to 10. They lead the Cougars 15-5. And that was a goal by Monique Gibson, her 5th of the game. She now has 60 goals on the season. What a day for her.
It has been a good day for her and the entire Aurora team as a whole, as they are now going to go with a record now of 14-1 after today.
And with the double-digit lead, that means we will have a running clock. So that clock slowly ticking down. Draw control won by the Cougars, Jessica Parker. 13 seconds left in the contest. Now it's picked up by Genty. In goal for the Spartans. And that'll do it. The Spartans come on the road and defeat the Cougars 15-5, and with the win, Aurora has clinched the NAC title. They will head into the conference tournament as the 1 seed, move to 14-1 overall, 6-0 in the conference. And with the loss, the Cougars now move to 4-9 overall and 3-3 in the conference. Right now, they're still sitting at that 3 spot. We'll have to wait and see how the other games play out. And Roth, it just seems that the Spartans' offense is too much for this Cougars team.
Early on, you could just tell immediately the Spartans that they were the better team, and not only just the best team in the entire conference early on. They got those 4 goals in the opening 5 minutes of the game, and the Cougars just seemed like they could never come back from that early game deficit. And overall, that was the biggest picture I took early on in the game. And, you know, throughout the game, the Cougars got things going offensively. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too little too late. Now, you talked about how they're 3-3 in conference. Well, here's the situation they have right now. Merriam, Edgewood, they have 1 game each. Beloit has 2 games left. Beloit faces both Marion and Edgewood. If Beloit wins both games, the Cougars will stay as the 3rd seed because of the tiebreaker head-to-head with Beloit. However, should Merriam and Edgewood defeat Beloit in their final conference games, there's a 3-way tie for the final 2 spots in conference, in which it'll come down to the tiebreakers. So who knows whether or not, depending on what happens elsewhere, whether the Cougars will make it to the conference tournament.
Basically, Aurora and Concordia, Wisconsin have clinched spots at 1 and 2 respectively in the conference tournament. Those 3 and 4 spots are up for grabs between CUC, Marion, Edgewood, and Beloit. Pretty much the only team out of contention is Illinois Tech. There are no conference games left for the Cougars, but we'll have 1 more game on Saturday at home versus the University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire. And for the Spartans, they have 2 games remaining. They will be on the road at the University of Wisconsin-River Falls on Friday. The game is set to start at 5 p.m. They'll also be on the road again on Saturday at the University of Wisconsin Lacrosse. The game is set to start at 1 p.m. But once again, the Cougars drop this conference contest to the Spartans 15-5. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our student workers who were able to make this broadcast possible. On the camera, Stormy Devine. Producing today up in the booth with me and Roth with Sydney Lloyd. Down there on the table, Amaya Martin. Our scoreboard and public address announcer, Emily Balaban. Spotter was Ashley Schroll. We are under the direction of Cindy Palaska-Slaher and Kayla McLeod. But as for me and my partner, Rafa Gonzalez, signing off from the Cougar Sports Network. See you on Saturday, and as always, go Cougars.